Well, it's absolutely stinking hot today. We're up to 31 degrees from 22 yesterday. Slightly old smoky dokey. Yesterday my smoker was playing up where I couldn't get it going all day for some reason. It kept going out. I came home, parked up, went away from my smoker, went inside, got sorted out, came back outside, and what do I see? This thing billowing smoke out like Krakatoa erupting. It's just always the way with smokers. Anyway, so today let me finish. Yesterday I finished the last of my nukes. So I've made about 70 nukes in the last week, and that, I mean, I've got a nice lot of nukes to overwinter, but the skill now is to get them mated and to remove the last queen. So I've got 2 more batches I've done that I haven't cut the queen cells out of yet, but I've made a note of the dates, and those were done yesterday and the day before, and I'll be cutting those queen cells out probably Saturday and Sunday, and because I've got queens coming out the incubator, and that's what I'm going to do now. We're going to go and harvest a few queens, and I just thought it'd be nice to do a little video showing these nice cells coming out the various finishes I've got. So it'll be a bit of fun, but it's just a short video to keep you up to date with what I'm doing. When I'm not harvesting my honey till about the 8th, because actually you obviously know that I used to do a lot of gardening, and I have a client over on the 8th, so I've got a lot of work to do at their place just to get their garden up straight, and that's my last bit of gardening, because they are basically selling, and then from now on I'm going to be solely relying on my bees, which is like a gulp moment, but it has to come, because I'm at the stage now where I can no longer be really doing the 2 jobs at the same time. It's so hard in the spring, and so kind of you're torn between being honourable to your clients and wanting to get the work done that you say you're going to do, and also you see your bees that are getting ready to swarm, and you're like, you've got to get into your hives. And if you don't get into your hives in that April and May time, when you need to be doing checks every week, if you don't do those regular checks, that's when you have little summer, because by the time the summer comes, most of your hives are swarmed. So I'll be glad to see the back of my gardening work and my maintenance work I was doing, but I'll certainly miss the money. But it has to be done, because now I can finally increase my numbers with these nukes I've made. I'll have nukes to sell next spring, I hope, and I'll be able to increase my amount of bees up to 250 colonies on my own, rather than 180 to 200. So the extra 50 colonies will pay quite a bit more, and that will give me the stability I need. And also, because I'll be able to manage them better, I'll be able to do the work I need to when I need to do it. I won't have to worry so much about problems, because I'll be able to alleviate those problems by being there and doing the work when I need to. And that's what it's all about in beekeeping. When you have to go, you have to go. You just have to do the work, because if not, you miss it. It's gone. It's opportunity, planning, management, timely intervention. And if you don't get that timely intervention done, you might as well kiss goodbye. You have to do it. As I said before, my beekeeping mentor often says to me, you know, don't forget, you say goodbye to your family in March and you might see them again in September time. And when you see other beekeepers who are on the internet, they're just about as busy as that. They are doing exactly the same. So anyway, beautiful sunny day, 31 degrees, 32 degrees. I'm not moaning about the temperature. It's really strange this time, because we're going from 22 yesterday to 32 today, 31 tomorrow, then back down to 21 the day after. So we've got a couple of days of heat. I'm actually taking a couple of days off, a little bit kick back for a couple of days before I get back stuck into work next week. But it will be no bee work unless it's putting queens in of an evening, because that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be inserting virgin queens into the queenless nukes that are now screaming out for a queen. But they're well fed, they've all had syrup put on them, and hopefully the results will be good, but we shall see. And watch this space. So let's go and pull some queens. Look at this. This is one of my finishers here, my 5/5, and you can really see how these queens are struggling to ventilate in this heat. This is a ventilated nuke. You can see they're just trying to hold it together, you know. I've got queen cells in this one. I think there's queen cells in that one. Queen cells in this one, queen cells in the one over there, and the one behind, which I'm going to pull all today. But this one I know is a really nice colony, so we'll pull this one, and then you won't have to worry about bees flying so much, because they're nicely behaved bees. Let's see what we can see in here. So I'll just run through this again. Obviously this is my 5/5. You can see there's 5 there's a 5-frame nuke there with the. I ran out of my queen excluders I have cut to fit these exactly, and I just slap a normal one between the two, so it works fine like that. But well, there's no real buts. It's all good. This is a really strong colony. I use the lid to take the cells up in. This is absolutely full of bees. This was actually a 10-frame hive that was an F1 from one of Alicia's inseminated queens from 2 years ago. And it went F1 this year, and it's so prolific because they requeened. And those queens have been amazing to have in the apiary because the good they've done in terms of drones, you know, it's just terrific. And these are the new feeders I've been using. So the pollen sub is on top. You see the bees are chewing that. And the liquid feed goes in the front. So like that was just, I don't know if you saw that, that was where the pollen sub goes in here. And when you've got the pollen sub right on top of the frames, they always eat it down. I don't know, and I do understand some people say, oh, sometimes you find the pollen sub on the floor in balls. Well, if they've had to process it, they've had the chance to either take it up or not. And when I'm making cells, I always like to have a good amount of pollen sub, whether they need it or not, because you can't ever knock having too much food in a colony, you know. So let's see what these are looking like. I'm just hoping these are going to be good because everything rests on these batches of cells. Good, we have cells. Look at those, nice. So they're okay, they're not enormous, and they're not enormous because I've got 2 bars in one nuke. But also, I can show you this. This is what happens occasionally. A couple of things there you can see. A couple of times they get built onto the edge of the comb there. Where I've fed them, they get a little bit too much burr comb, and the bees like to build it up a bit more. But it's no big deal. I'll show you. I'll just fish these out. Like that. Pop that back in for now. And the same for this one here. So that's 13 out of 14 were finished. I can't remember whether if there was 1 or 2 that weren't finished, weren't started properly. To be honest, I didn't make a note of the figures. But these are nice bees. So they go in on their side. I'm not turning them up or down, moving them very, very gently because it's about day 8 on these, day 9. I don't like to move them anymore, but I'm so worried about getting my dates wrong. I don't even trust myself at the moment because I'm so kind of paranoid about making sure I have these queens. If I don't have these queens, I have a big problem because I have nothing to, should have my brush with me. I have nothing to put in my nukes, you know? I've got to find some queens from somewhere. And these aren't enormous, but they're fine, they'll do, you know? They're absolutely fine, they'll all hatch, they'll be perfectly good queens. And I'm because I know this codling was strong and it was really well fed when I made it up, I'm pretty sure that it won't have any effect on the actual quality of the queens inside. So, that's a nice bar there, they stay on their side as well. So, what I do now with this finisher, okay, I am splitting these. This is how I end my year. So that's now back as 5 frames. But I'm not going to split it tonight probably because I haven't got time and it's stinking hot. What I will do is just take off this excluder. And if you can see that only just, take off this excluder, reassemble it. And I will basically split this in 2 and I'll put a new nuke. The top part will be put into a nuke and I'll mix it up with the right frames, right frequency of frames and honey and all that, and I'll sort all that out and I will divide up basically it into 2. There we go, you can probably see it better now. And the queen will be taken away with 1 nuke, but with a little bit less resources because she can rebuild quicker. She's still going to be building straight away. And the other one will be, so she's laid this up really well, look. What a super duper queen. This is just how I love my bees. And that, if I was going to reuse this finisher, I would move this one up to the top, and that is the larvae I want to see in the top because I like how open brood in the super duper queen, really well mated. You know, it's just, I love this time of year and I hate it. I love it because it's like nearly the end, but I hate it and I feel sad that I'm not going to be doing this again until next year. But I like to finish on a high, and when you have finishes like this that are lovely to work with and they draw you up beautiful cells, you don't mind, because you know that in 6 months time, 7 months time, we'll be starting to get this all ready again, you know. And I've learned a lot again this year. I've learned a huge amount. So that will give the queen the run of the nuke. I'll probably make this up tomorrow, or if not the following day, and it's a little bit cooler. But I've got cells that are coming out over the next 6 days, so I will be able to put cells in. I probably will make this up as soon as I can when I've got time, but I've just got to get these done first. I've got another job to do tonight as well. But what I'm trying to say to you is very soon these will all be broken down into 5/5s. The queens that are in one of the nukes will be taken away, and the other one will be in its place to get mated to make an extra colony for free. And that's how it works for me. Let's go on to the next one. Let's put this back on. They can have that pollen sub for now. They'll just carry on. And then this, by the way, this worked really well. Having this round the top of the feeder, it stopped the bees drowning. They all could climb out, and there's no dead bees in the feeder anymore. There was a few each time. It wasn't very good, but that's the way it goes. So I'm actually just going to put this piece of alu on top for now. Aluminium, just leave that there because I'm using this other box to harvest the queens from. Here we are, the next one. Another beautiful colony. I love this one. I've got the date in here. Grafted the 21st, ready the 31st. That's tomorrow. So that's why 10 days after, I've got to get these out tonight. So I do label each one, each box. Because it's really warm, it's the perfect day to harvest. And it keeps me happy that these cells are going to be looked after properly. So this pollen sub, we actually made it a little bit dry. They are eating it down, but they're not eating it as quick as I'd like, but it doesn't matter, it's still sun. But that will be changed very soon because we've got a load more. We've mixed up wetter. My fault in the mix. Oh, thank you. Look at those, lovely. Not quite as many on this one, but there's 2 bars again, and they're fine. They're absolutely fine. They're good cells. Couple again. This time of year we haven't got much burrcomb at all on these, which is interesting, and you don't generally get a lot less. As soon as your flow stops, you get hardly any burrcomb. I've just pulled that one open, but it's okay. Because you can inspect queen cells if you want, if you're very careful, and you can close them back up again. So yes, a few are sticking this time, but I'll tell you, it's not a very common occurrence. That one more here. Nice cells. So they're done. They all look good. So that's that. Nice calm bees again. There's actually some drones in the top where you can see they were trying to get out to fly. So they'll have their freedom now because I'm opening the top up and they can go and do what they need to do in the day, which is great. I don't like to have anything trapped, but it sometimes happens, I'm afraid. That one goes in on the side. One more bar here. They're pretty nice. This wasn't complete when I put it in, and I know that that's what we've got, so that's good. They were drawn up well. So let's give this a little bit of smoke, wherever that's gone. There's my smoker there. Let's get these cells off. Let's get the smoke off, let's get the bees off, I should say. Oh, my smoker's going so well now. Crazy. So they're done. So that's 4 bars out. I've got a couple more to collect after. But it was just to show you that that's what I'm doing at the moment. And the bees now will have their colony completely back to themselves for a day or so. Take that out another time, but it's a bit dry that now. But I'm going to quickly take off this excluder. notice the savage bees. Let's take off this queen excluder. And we're done. And I can come back whenever I want to and make a nuke from this and split it up. So all is good. Back on with the feeder unit and back on with the aluminium on the top. Sealed, done. Queen cells out, lovely and warm tonight, absolutely no problem. I'm even covering these over to make sure that the sun doesn't get at them and dry them out or something like that, but usually there's no problem, you know, it's pretty good. When these due? Right, they've got to come out today. Okay. You see what I've done here is I've actually put a couple in I had spare in the end here. And look at that, drawn it up perfectly. You can see the queen in there. You can just see her in the light. I don't usually do this, but if you watch that, you can see how she's moving. Yes, there's no raw jelly left in there. There might be a bit left in the bottom of the cup, but that's fine. This time of year, it's cells that I need. Look at that lot. Be very careful with these. Let's get these out. And as soon as I see that first one, I'm like, phew! Move these bees off the pollen sub, look, just loving it. It's always a bit tricky trying to juggle these because you don't want to hurt the bees, but they just, sometimes the pollen sub's a bit soft and you have to move it out of the way a bit. This is the soft stuff we just put on, so let's see what these are like. But I know because I've seen that first cell, it was good. So these should be okay as well. But I put a lot of cells in these. So hopefully, yeah, they've all drawn up. Remember, less is more. Thank you. But needs must when you need cells. So I didn't have as many finishes as I'd like. But there we go, look at those, perfect. Pretty happy with that. Beautiful. So let's put those to one side. And the next bar underneath will be there. Fish one out here. Just fell off. Sometimes that happens. These bees have been lovely because we've got a really nice bit of weather, I think, and that's why. Mind you, these are good colonies, so I know that they're nice, you know. That goes back on there. And this one comes out. It's always a bit of a job cramming 2 loads in, but it works. Just need a bit of care when you do it. Okay, out they come. Beautiful. I'm pretty happy with that too. So I'm going to smoke these off. And the key, I'm sure, is to not moving them vertical if you take them out early. I mean, they're actually really big cells. See, they're good. This is a really good, strong finisher to have big cells like that. They're not the biggest I've seen, but they're pretty good. To have those ones that size, it's a couple of crackers there. To have those ones that size is, with 24 in one finisher, it shows how strong the finisher is. And this time of year, if you build a strong finisher, generally you don't get any problems with swarming because nothing swarms from now on. As soon as that flow stops, there's no swarming. To be honest, it's stopped, you know. So they're going in the box. And these are all kept separate. I think that one's not closed yet, but maybe there's a reason why that wasn't closed. I don't know. Looks like an odd larvae, a big larvae in there, but anyway. There you go. Off up to the incubator with those. Good site. That's got me out of a lot of trouble. Let's get these in safely and just look after them. Well, there we go. That's almost, well, I've got another 3 loads of cells and 3 different finishes to come out. So I've got enough cells. I need at least 75, 80 cells. And any I've got left, I'll be going around apiaries, just using them up in any queenless colonies I find to make sure that, that there's every chance that anything that hasn't mated will have a queen, just to get it queen right again before the winter. And we'll have time now to get going, because that clock is ticking. I always like to really aim to have all my mating done by 2nd week of August. So that means the queens are going to be laying. So 1 month later, at the absolute outmost, 21 days later, 3 weeks later, they've got the first brood being born. If you really think you can push your bees harder than that in this particular area, you really are going to struggle, because I've learned the hard way. Maybe last year some of the colonies I lost, they weren't strong enough, but I know a lot of it was protein deficiency, but the strongest area was the nukes. So anyway, we're not going to talk about that anymore. We've moved on from there, but that's my reasoning, is that you've got to stop making hives and bees at the right time. You've got to give those bees time to get ready for the winter, and you've got to work with them, not against them. So I'm getting it up to the incubator. And next thing I'll show you in a couple of days is me starting to put the first virgins in. So take care and be well. Bye for now. Bye-bye. That's a good site. I'm happy with that.